The next part, perfect bonding. Sorry. You can do 6 colours on the indigo. Oh, sorry. The web will. Normal printing, you only require CMYK. That gets most of your work done. To boost the colours, CMYK, when the colours mix together, you get areas where the intensity of the colour isn't there. So, for example, orange is one of those areas. So what they do is they introduce orange as well and violet. The indigo does orange and violet. So that boosts the colours. Now, this is an example here of a 6 colour job which has got the violet included in the blue, whereas this particular client didn't need that for their industrial range. So the difference in the blue and the intensity that you can get out of the blue is just so much better. I've got here a colour swatch book. You can come see the difference between. Well, I'll tell you what. I made up these colour swatch books, and the difference between the CMYK and this one here is the 6 colour, and this one's the 4 colour. And the difference in those colours, like the orange and the blues, is huge.
So the first match can improve a lot better too?
Yeah, a lot better, yeah. But the thing about the indigo is that you can, for example, say I want Pantone 456. You can wash out the orange, get they've got a Pantone mixing kit, match up 456, stick that in, and print that spot colour on there. Yeah, oh, totally, yeah. And we've done a few jobs using that. What we sometimes do is we do it in, because the indigos sort of go around 2 colours at a time, if you can get a 2 colour job on the indigo, it actually runs really quickly. So it just pumps them out really, really nice, and you get a lovely effect. We did that for a particular government job because we knew it was going to be coming in late. It was one of those, like, it wasn't the budget, but it was one of those sort of things where it's always coming in late, but they knew they needed to print it and get it out. They wanted colour, but we sort of worked out that it just wasn't going to go in time, but then they redesigned it with this green and black, so they had their colour from that the green wash in it, and it just ran. I can't remember what the exact amount was, but I think it was about. This was on the sheet fed indigos, but it was about. I think it was 4,000 or 5,000 sheets an hour. So we belted it in. It was really good. It was a good result, that one. Okay, so through the indigo sheet feds, you can get a 483 by 320. Now there are grip edges where the machine has to grip it of 8mm. If it's not being double-sided, you can print a bit more to the edge, but you pretty much want to keep to about 450mm for your job by about 310mm. And that's normally pretty safe. The indigo web fed is 990 by 320, and the new OSE one, although the quality is not as high as the indigo, that's 470 wide, and as yet I think we'd be down to about the 990 as well, but that's more because of our finisher than the OSE, because the OSE is an inkjet, so it can just keep printing it. Theoretically, I reckon you could do a really long banner. And yeah, the 470 by 320 is like our standard size. We can get stock that size, and it's much easier for us to use that. And out of that, we'll get a 450 by 310 print area. So that's only what we work for. Okay, perfect binding. The thing that you need to know about perfect binding is your spine thickness. The only way you'll know your spine thickness is knowing how many pages you've got and what stock you're using. Every stock has a different thickness, which will affect how big your spine's going to be. So check with your printer before you design your cover. And also try and design your cover in such a way that it doesn't matter if you're out by a little bit. There might be issues with stock at the last minute or that sort of thing, and your client needs it out, and they say, no, don't worry about it, just go with that stock, and it's a thinner stock, and suddenly it doesn't, the spine's not right. So have a bit of a think when you do design spines about what it'll look like if it's 1 mil smaller or bigger, and then design accordingly. And how the machine works. Oh, sorry, we have 2 ways of gluing it. The standard gluing is a PVA sort of glue. Per glue is a glue, I don't know if you know Araldite, where you've got the syringe and it's got 2 parts of glue and they're mixed together, and then that stuff really gets hard. That's the per glue we've got. We run per glue at certain times, because it's that one that mixes the two glues together, if that stuff dries in the machine will get basically have to be overhauled. So if you want something per-glued, which is really strong, you can basically hold a book up like that and it'll stick no matter what. They do it at certain times, so there might be a delay before they can do your binding, so work that into your timelines as well. Whereas the standard glues, it's pretty much being done all day, every day. But the per-glue is definitely the better option. It's a really good finish. Okay, and it's oh yes, and I'll show you the three-way trim and how that happens in the perfect binding. So the perfect binding machine, this is our big one. Oh, sorry, it's gone ahead one. Oh, sorry, let me just get that back to the beginning because I think it jumped around. Right. So the perfect binding machine, it starts with the book block being put into a clamp. Then that runs through the machine. The first thing that happens to it is while it's in that clamp, it gets run over like a plane. It just evens up the bottom of the book. I think it roughs it up a bit. I've never been able to get a good explanation out of anybody, so it can take the glue. Then it runs over rollers, which you can sort of just see. Sorry, my photography's not that good. The rollers which are just covered in glue, and that's where the glue gets applied. Then it runs through the machine, and it runs through sideways, and these are the covers that are ready, set into place. Spine thickness is already set. These covers get sucked in. And you'll have to just look very carefully at this next bit. Sorry, let's just go back 2 seconds. You'll just see the paper being pulled together and as the cover gets put against the spine. And then it comes out the other side. So what's actually happening is it's put under huge pressure and clamped together with the glue. The whole thing needs to be. Oh, sorry, it'll come up a bit later. Now everything's oversized at this point. The text has got extra bleed on it, and it's sort of hard to see, but you'll see that the cover comes out of it. That's because all the glue's all mushed out the end of the spine, and it's what we call a glue trap. It's gone into this area outside the spine. So you can't put too many covers up on a sheet because you might not have enough glue trap, and you'll get glue into the machine, and then it starts jamming in the machine and causing lots of problems. So these ones here are A4, so you can only get one up on the sheet anyway. And you'll see where the trim marks are. So this is the section here where it's getting trimmed. Okay. So this section that's gone in, the spine is at the back, furthest away from us. The clamp's gone down on top of it, and now it's just we've got two sets of guillotines. One's a single blade, which is about to come down now, which cuts the forage off, and then bang, the side ones come in and cut the top and bottom off. Bang. So it's three-way trim, bang, 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 and that's the end of your book, and it comes out the other side. And there's your result. And what it actually does in this machine is it tries to put a few books together so that you get less clamp marks, all that sort of thing. So that's how a perfect binder works. Does anyone want to see that one? I'll just play that one again through, just so that you can get a better idea of what's happening. So it's in, plane the bottom edge, stick the glue on, clamp the cover onto it, and then go through and then 3-edge trim. And that's how we get perfect bound books. The next one is the saddle stitch. This one. The next one's a saddle stitch book. I'll wait for that to finish. This is something that his name was Dan, the previous pre-press manager. He was talking about creep and saddle stitch. This is an example of a design that we had to adjust for creep because it's got these on the end for a saddle stitch. Now what the creep is basically the easiest way to see what the creep is, and I hope I can get it here, is if you hold this out flat, you'll see. No, you can't see. Anyway, you can see that it forms an angle. That's because when it's come together like this, when you're going outside the saddle stitch, your outside pages are going around and across to the top. So when you open it out like that, of course, you create creep. The pages creep up when you're doing it. So when you do the design, you don't really need to worry about that. What you should be worrying about is whether or not you should be designing something that has got that, because these things will move. It's like the bleed. There will be a little margin of error. So if you want something that looks really good, it might not be a great idea to put things against the forage, which need to be even. In this case, we were able to do it. We got those numbers all on there, but it is a bit of a task. You've got to get the guys to run the machines a bit slower to make sure everything works correctly. So it's just something you've got to consider. But yes, the pre-press people will fix the creep for you. And if you do need it, make sure you specify it. Make sure that the creep is done, because a lot of the time, a lot of the jobs we do, for example, there's no real need to have a creep. A lot of them are too small, and the effect's not there. Or this one here, for example, which is one of the ones that we did, everything's kept well away from that forage. Okay, we bled the pictures out, but that makes no difference. And the way that the saddle stitch machine works, actually I should have gone a bit further ahead. Okay, so and we'll do the imposition as well. So you just send us the pages as they are, front to back, and we'll stick them all together and impose them correctly for you. It's got to be done as an uncollated print. I'll get into that a bit later when I'll show you. Oh, sorry, I'm not on the computer. Sorry. It's and you just got to be aware of creep issues in the print. Okay, so the saddle stitching machine is basically made of these towers, and in our machine we have 3 towers of 12, so we can get 36 leads, which is, sorry, I can't do the maths, however many pages. There's 4 pages per leaf. And this is why we do the print uncollated. Uncollated means that you print all of page 1 in a stack, then you print all of page 2 in a stack, all of page 3 in a stack, all of page 4 in a stack. And this machine will, when it sends it to be saddle stitched, will pick 1 from each stack. And that's what you'll see happening now. It blows a little bit of air in there so to separate the pages, and then it just takes the first page of each stack. Okay, so the first thing it does is sorry, let's just I think I put the wrong one in. I took a couple of videos and I wasn't happy with the first one, so okay, sorry. So I collected that. So this is the correct one. It collected the stacks of paper together, put it through, folded it where it wants it to go. It then knocks it up against this side. Okay, so that was, and then this last bit here is it cuts that forage. So just chops it straight down there like that. So when you have it folded up, it looks nice and straight, and all the rest of it. So there's very little of this machine that's particularly hard to understand, like the perfect binder. It basically just does what a lot of laser printers can do. It just sticks it in, folds it up, and out comes, trims that edge, and out it comes. These edges are pre-trimmed, so we'll print it out. The guy in the guillotine will just trim those 2 edges, and they'll stick it through. Right.